Yes, guys, we are back with another video today. So, on this one, we're gonna fix this Samsung electrical dryer because it is not heating. So, we're gonna replace that heater coil. That part number that I'm giving you guys, it's basically just like a little slinky. It looks like a slinky. We order those because they're usually more cheap and they fit a handful of other brands and other dryers. So as you can see, we're gonna go ahead and disassemble this and get this thing back going. So everything that you're doing right now to disassemble this whole dryer, it's a bunch of Phillips screws. So just be sure that when you're taking things apart, you're putting them off to the side, setting every screw off to the side as well, what corresponds with what. Just so when you have to reassemble everything just goes back in order how you took it apart. So this is a pretty easy fix. You just really have to take your time with it. Like I've always said, guys, just remember, take pictures, take your time. The pictures are always just there for a reference point to how you started, just in case you get lost or you don't know how to put something back. It's just there. So we're almost to the source of the problem. We're taking off that other front panel, putting it off to the side. Now guys, when taking off that pulley, really all you're gonna have to do is feel where the belt's at, feel where your pulley is located. You want to push your pulley to the left and then pull the belt right off of it, and then it'll come off. So as you can see right there, they're also gonna need a support roller, but we don't have that as of right now. So unfortunately, we're just gonna put this heater coil, but we're gonna come back and put that support roller on it because that one looks pretty worn out. But they just really wanted they just really wanted to use their dryer again, where it can actually dry their clothes. So as you can see, all those connectors there. Those, typically, I take a picture of everything that I take apart, just so I can remember back how it was, especially every cable. So right there, we're just checking the fuses, making sure they all have continuity, and they haven't basically shorted out. And the only one that shorted out was the heater coil on the inside of that assembly. They usually just kind of crack in half, so there's no power running from point A to point B. And right there, as you can see, I'm lifting up that little piece of metal, so when I take it apart, I don't have to struggle to kind of be bending it. So you just kind of want to put it in an upwards position, just like the one right next to it. So when you actually open that heating assembly, it just lifts up. And same thing with the heater coils. They're gonna have like these tabs on the little connector feet. Just bend them back into position where they're flat, and you can push the little feet into the heating assembly where you can remove the coil. You'll see what I mean right now. After I put in the new one, I'm gonna have to bend them so they stay in position. So right there, you're seeing how I'm taking these fuses apart. Like I said, it's just a bunch of Phillips screws, guys. And remember, just be sure you put everything back together how it was, and always try to keep the screws going in the same position as well, where you took them out from, because sometimes they have longer ones than others, and they're there for a reason. So right now I'm gonna disassemble this, but you're gonna notice that when I take this apart, I'm kind of gonna bend it inwards a little bit. And the reason why I do that is because once you have to put it back together, you have to align about 3 sets of holes so the screw can actually go in and be able to basically screw itself back in position. Now when you see these, that whole thing that I'm holding right there, the heater coil and the little bracket that holds it in place, that you can actually order online. But like I said, you're gonna see a big price difference on those. It's really up to you guys. I'm always gonna give you the most affordable version of it, because I know not everybody has that kind of amount of money, and if you can save yourself a few bucks on a few repairs here and there, like, why not? But pay close attention how I take this off. So I do it very, very meticulously. So I start off from one end and start basically pulling the heater coil apart and lifting up. They have different versions of these where you have to do the opposite motion, but for the most part, for this one, this is how you take it off. You separate the coils and then push up so it can release itself from where it's being held from. But once I get to that midpoint, that's when I start to put the new coil in. And the reason why I do that is because sometimes it's better to gauge and measure it out, because you don't want it to be hanging out too long or too short from the end where you have to put it into position again. So right there you see me just going and you literally just push them into the little brackets that's holding them, or the little pinholes. So after I'm done kind of getting halfway with the new one, I start taking off the rest of the other one. And as you can see, like I said, this one just basically cut itself in half. So right there, you're gonna see me put them into position, and at one point I'm going to stop and kind of measure how the end is gonna look like. And if I like the length of it where it's not too long or too short, then I'll just keep going at how I'm going and putting them in the same position. So just take your time with these guys, because you don't want to mount it wrong and then it's going to ground itself somewhere, or the heater coil is going to touch its own self and then it's going to cut itself and you're going to have to start all over. So yeah, as you can see, that one was a little bit too long for me, so I just started pushing it back where it can be a little bit shorter. Now, you do always have to keep in mind that when you're doing these jobs, just always remember that these are not your things. If they are your things, just always take care of them. So my motto is, just if you're gonna work on something, just treat it as if it was your own. And as you can see right there, those are the little pins or tabs that I'm bending downwards so the little feet can just stay in place. So look, this is what I mean. What I lifted up in the very beginning, I'm just trying to put them back into that hole so they can basically close the housing right. Now, I do always have to use this little tool. It looks like a little pig fork, like a toothpick kind of deal. I use that to align the holes even better so I don't have to be kind of aiming at them. And once I do that, it's just kind of smooth sailing right after that. So yeah, I just kind of use it for each one just to be sure that everything is aligning up the way that it should. And after you're done closing the housing, you're going to want to kind of peek through the housing itself and see where the heater coil is at. And keep in mind, guys, the heater coil cannot touch the housing, because as soon as power runs through it, it's going to ground itself and it's going to basically crack. And then you're going to have to start over again. And the same thing as well, the heater coil cannot be touching itself. Like you know how it looks like a slinky? Well, you cannot they cannot touch each other, because it will basically crack. So as you can see, I wasn't really liking how it was turning out there at one point. So I decided to kind of just bend it a little bit where it's not going to be so close to the housing itself, and it can actually at least work. So right there, just kind of push it back into position, and then there's going to be a bracket where that one holds it in place, and just screw it back on. And right here, guys, everything is just kind of smooth sailing after that. Just basically working backwards. There is other ways where you can kind of, when you are diagnosing these, you can kind of run it while it's open, but I'll make a video for that another day. These are always just videos to help you install certain appliance parts to your appliances so it can be okay. And like I said, it's always good to save yourself some money if you don't have to pay an arm and a leg for someone else to come out and do the service for you. But obviously, if it's a little bit too much of a big job, just call somebody that knows what they're doing, So right there, guys, when you're putting the belt back on, just be sure that you put it back where it was originally positioned on the drum. So what you're going to want to do, I know you can't see here, but just kind of visualize it. You're going to place your belt on the actual motor at the very end of it, and then you're going to grab your pulley, and then you're going to push left and just put the belt on the pulley itself. It's just exactly what you did, but backwards. And the pulley is going to have a little bit of tension because you're trying to put that thing on, so don't worry about that. Now just be sure that everything is aligning and everything is, you know, going into the correct hole, especially with that blower housing at the bottom. Just make sure that it's actually going inside of it and it's just not on top of it, because if it's not in, then it's gonna sound like it's either gonna sound like it's scraping something or it's not gonna be able to run at all. So these it's just very simple. They have like these little holes on the side where you can align, but you know, you can screw on one side and then hold the other one and start aligning them, but it's really up to you guys. The only thing with these is that these coils, they do last a while, but sometimes I always tell customers, you know, the appliance will always break down just because of usage, which is what we call wear and tear. So the more you use it, the more you're wearing out the parts. So just keep that in mind. Nothing lasts forever with these no appliances nowadays. But yeah, so we're almost getting to that end point. After you're done, once you turn it on, just always put it on time dry, because time dry literally does not care if the clothes are dry. If it says 40 minutes, the thing is going to run for 40 minutes, either on high, medium, or low heat. It's just your own personal settings, but that's really all there is to this one. But yeah, and I really like these dryers because, one, they're very easy to work on, and when you do have to replace parts on them, it's really not that difficult. So these are pretty good dryers in my opinion. Now when you're putting this back on, just be sure that you're putting it on correctly, because if you don't push down on that control panel, sometimes that thing will fall off, so you don't want that. So you see, we're up and running. You know, you might hear that noise. One, it's because those little dryer balls are in there, and two is, like I said at the beginning, we are gonna need to come back to put that support roller on that back one, because that one's pretty worn out. But the objective was getting this thing back up to drying, and we did that, so great job there. But anyways, guys, like I always been saying at the end of the videos, I just want to thank you guys for all the support that you guys give, and I really appreciate any sort of comment, any sort of feedback, because like I said, guys, these videos are just to help you out. I remember I was in a position where I had no idea what I was doing with these appliances, but I got better at the end. But, you know, I'm glad I could help you guys, and, you know, thanks again, and just stay tuned in for the next one. Peace.